Hey, what's going on, guys? We're back with another FPL video. And before I go into my dreadful Game Week 2 results, let me just mention all of the people who pressed an early wild card on Darwin Núñez, who thought he was going to shine and be the man of the match. Instead, he shined in other ways, more or less, red carded, off the pitch, and doing F all for your fantasy team. But hey, this is football. This is a beautiful game that we all love. And before I get into my Game Week 2 review, as well as my Game Week 3 brief mini guide, do make sure to like the stream if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel if you're new, and check out my video just an hour ago on FPL Casuals, where I am featured on their weekly for all your FPL news, FPL information, and a much chilled casual vibe. Thanks so much for tuning here today. And before I get into the stream, let me go ahead and run back that intro real quick. So Game Week 2 was a bit of a mare for me. A lot of hits and a lot of misses. And someone who has been returning week in and week out, who as an Arsenal fan, I should be believing in more as someone to captain and perform well. And hats off to all those people who captained Gabriel Jesus and those people who are brave enough to triple captain Gabriel Jesus. He ended up winning the Salah versus Haaland debate. Thank God Salah didn't punish me in terms of captaincy, because I did go with Haaland captaincy. Before I go into my Game Week 2 review and show you guys how miserable my points were, I didn't do as bad, but I didn't do as great as I wanted to. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Thanks so much for tuning in. And if you haven't already, do make sure to hit the notification bell. If you're watching on Twitter, hop on over to my YouTube channel. Check out my previous videos. I do Arsenal and FPL related content. I'm also featured on other channels as a guest. And if you click on playlists, you can see a list of all the videos that I've been on as a guest and even on my own channel. And just an hour ago, I was featured on FPL Casuals, where I'm there weekly doing FPL content that I love the most. I know I say I love it, but it sounds like I hate it. But, you have good game weeks and sometimes you don't. It's way too early in the season to talk about rank. But let's go on and dive into this video real quick. So first, going on into this video, what's the layout is going to be is I'm going to go over my Game Week 2. I'm also going to discuss the fixtures that happened over the weekend, starting with Arsenal's, yet again, back-to-back 3 points, and Man United's shithousery, yet another defeat, a humiliating performance yet again. And then we'll go on into my team review for Game Week 2 and discuss some transfer questions, Bailey replacements, Neto replacements. Do you keep or do you sell Andy Robertson? And those of you with double LFC defense, are you moving over to someone like Walker for double Man City assets, or are you moving over to someone cheaper like Cucurella or Koulibaly to get that Chelsea asset in as an attacking potential? Or a lot of people are going for Nottingham Forest's player, Nico Williams, who did return last week. 6 points on my bench last week. So yes, that did hurt, but I know a lot of people did have him in their team. Pretty much template team selection, but let's go on and dive into this video real quick. So first things first, we're just going to do, fixtures, discuss the fixtures from last week, see, how well the teams performed. And to me, players who stood out, players who really did well that game week, and discuss, who I felt stood out the most. So the first fixture that we saw over the weekend was Aston Villa Everton. Leon Bailey, very disappointing, and a lot of us have sold him. If you haven't sold him already, like myself, unfortunately, I had missed the price drop, so we've now lost 0.1 in value. And it's unfortunate because I've now lost some money that I could have got a better player in, like Rodrigo, possible replacement for Bailey, or even someone like De Silva. A lot of people are going for from Brentford because he is looking like a real threat for Brentford, and Brentford do have good fixtures coming up. If you can't afford someone like Rodrigo, then I would suggest someone like De Silva or someone like Martinelli if you haven't already had him into your team. Personally, as an Arsenal fan, and an FPL manager, I feel Martinelli has more attacking value, better bang for your buck than Bukayo Saka this season so far. Bukayo Saka, the price at 8 million, I feel Kulusevski is a better buy at 8 million and gives you that Tottenham coverage as well for attacking threat without having to pay the premium of Son or Harry Kane. In terms of Everton defenders, cheap defender, very much so an enabler in FPL this season would be someone like Patterson, similar to the likes of Andreas Pereira that a lot of us have in our teams. Patterson is someone that's cheap. It's a cheap set and forget. Gives you a lot of room to upgrade your defenders or your midfielders, or even bring in a premium striker to play 3 at the front if you have enough value and if you have enough money in your team. But Aston Villa 2, Everton 1. Villa look like they're on a hit and miss this season. To me personally, I feel Gerrard might be the first manager to be sacked. It doesn't seem like they're going in with a game plan, but in this game, someone to highlight and someone I want to mention is Danny Ings. Danny Ings and Watkins. Ollie Watkins has been going under the radar this season, and to me, I feel like he could be a good differential, but Aston Villa are not reliable, and they don't necessarily have the greatest of fixtures, so for me, he is an avoid at this moment. Going on to the next fixture, Arsenal versus Leicester, 4-2 at the weekend. Brilliant game for us. And the likes of Martinelli returning for us. And even Granit Xhaka as a differential could be a great pick. He doesn't get rotated. He is getting full minutes, and he's a nailed starter into your team. If you do not have Gabriel Jesus already, to me, it feels like you're missing out on a great opportunity and a massive opportunity to haul points-wise. And William Saliba and Zinchenko, that's up in the air for that 5 million spot defender. Both of them do get equal minutes. However, with Zinchenko, the problem I feel is when Tierney is back, and he is back now, I feel like Zinchenko and Tierney are going to be rotated interchangeably depending on the opponents that we play and how Arteta wants to line us up. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Brighton versus Newcastle 0-0. Some players that I feel are a differential for Brighton that, you might want to consider taking a look at is someone like Danny Welbeck, Trossard, Lamptey, and someone like Schär at Newcastle has very high ownership now. A lot of people have transferred him into their teams. However, I do favor Brighton's fixtures over the likes of even Tony at Brentford or De Silva at Brentford. I do feel like Brighton have a good run of games, and someone like Sanchez in goal is a great shout to have as well if you don't already have. But to me, the likes of Danny Welbeck, Trossard, and Lamptey are ones to mention for Brighton. I know a lot of people have been getting Gross in their team. However, I do feel like he's not as much value as what other players have to offer. Man City 4, Bournemouth 0. It's a shame Haaland didn't offer as much. He only got 1 assist, and that was the end of that. So the captaincy debate with Salah and Haaland ended up being Gabriel Jesus as the answer to that equation. But Kevin De Bruyne and Gundogan are my top essential picks and my top picks for this game week and next game week moving on. Personally, I favor Gundogan more than Foden. I feel like Gundogan is getting in that attacking threat. And if you don't already have Man City assets in defense, Cancelo would be your best defender for minutes-wise, as well as Walker over Ake. I know Ake offers more attacking potential and returns-wise, but I do feel that Pep is likely to rotate Ake and John Stones when he comes back. Then Ake would more likely his minutes be reduced. And yes, he does offer more attacking potential, but what good does that have when a player is rotated and not even starting? So for me, Walker is a safe bet. Personally, I like the double up of Cancelo and Walker. Saves you Man City assets if you don't already have Ederson or as your double in the back line. Players from Bournemouth, I don't really have anyone in mind to target. Southampton, Leeds. I do want to talk about Leeds for a moment. A lot of people have jumped the gun on someone named Rodrigo, who last season has performed well and was pretty much in a lot of teams last season for a majority of the season. Harrison is another name to mention. He's been performing. He got the assist. Rodrigo got 2 goals for Leeds, and he looks like he's on form. Leeds, do they have the greatest of fixtures? Not quite, but it's not the worst. So one to keep in mind there. I will get to your comments shortly, so do leave them in the comments section below. I'm also going to be doing a separate team selection video and further tips on, who I feel to bring in your team, keep, sell, and avoid. I will be dropping that tomorrow on my channel. Wolves Fulham was a 0-0 game. A lot of people are selling Neto because Wolves' fixtures are, they're not as enticing. But if you're selling Neto, then I would get someone more prominent, like Martinelli with better fixtures. Or if you can afford a Chelsea midfielder, someone like Mason Mount. Personally, if I'm going Chelsea, I would go down the defense route with someone like Koulibaly, Cucurella, or Reece James. Brentford, Man United 4-0. Embarrassing performance from Man United. What can I say? Very, very embarrassing. It didn't even take them till full time to score those 4 goals. De Silva looks like he's on everyone's radar at the moment, one to have in your team. He got 1 goal, and in the previous game as well, he got a goal as well. Mbeumo, last season we did see what Mbeumo has to offer alongside the link up of Even Tony. Even Tony got 2 assists in this game, and he is definitely in a lot of people's teams. People have sold the likes of Gabriel Jesus for Even Tony, or the likes of Mitrovic if they still had him up front and got Even Tony. That is a massive upgrade and a transfer that I would recommend taking a -4 because I feel Even Tony could give you a good rate of returns. Nottingham Forest, West Ham 0. West Ham were really unlucky in this game. They had a lot of chances, a lot of opportunities, but just couldn't deliver. And I felt like Nottingham Forest got a bit lucky in the game, but Nico Williams is a player that has great potential, great attacking involvement in the game, and he got 6 points with the clean sheet, but unfortunately he was on my bench. I will get to my game week 2 team and show you guys how I did, what players stood out and what players didn't perform very shortly. Chelsea 2, Tottenham 2. Can we just talk about how this game was a really mad game? Not, the performance itself, but that Kane goal, personally, we all saw it. It was a Reece James deflection, and FPL marked it down as a Kane goal with Perisic assist. Those of you guys who still have Perisic in your team, personally, I feel to hold him. And those of you guys who don't have him and are eyeing on him, I'd personally bring him in my team if I had the funds to and the room to, because I do feel Perisic and Tottenham have good fixtures coming up. Like I said earlier, if you cannot afford Son or Kane in your team, or both, then to cover that attacking threat and to cover that Spurs attacking potential, Kulusevski at 8 million is a great option. I think his price already rose, so he's no longer exactly 8 million, but I think he's a great coverage to have and a great price point to have in your team. So I'm gonna go to your comments now, and then I'm gonna talk about the how I did in my game week, and let you guys know, how I did and what else, like other teams that let me down, especially players, and also players that I'm looking out for this season. So this season, my rank aim is top 50K. Last season, I finished in the top 70K, but it was hard for me. I ended up using my second free hit that was offered way too early, and that costed me my top 50K rank that I was holding on to most of the season. As you can see, my game week 2 team, I got 73 points overall. However, I did take a -4, so I did end up on 69 points. Ramsdale didn't offer much for me. 1 point there. Huge disappointment for me. Cancelo, 11 points with that clean sheet. Trent, 3 points. Trippier, 7 points. What a beauty. And Reece James matching him as well. Pretty much template there at the back. Salah letting me down as usual. Martinelli with beautiful 8 points. Kulusevski on 2. And Andreas Pereira with 3 points. Haaland captain at 10 points. And Jesus with a lovely 19-pointer. On my bench, however, Nico Williams, like most of you, 7 points sitting there on my bench. I am still doing well right now in the leagues, but it's way too early in the season to define rank and to define my place in mini leagues. However, I got a green arrow at the end of the game week. I am still 1 million something in overall rank, 1.1 million in overall rank, as you can see, and 137 overall points. But there's still 36 game weeks to go this season. It's a long way to go to the rest of the season, so take it every game by game. And don't be too hard on yourself when you don't have necessarily the greatest of game weeks. Personally, I expected around 80 points, but unfortunately, it didn't work out as the plan. And sometimes that's the same with FPL. It doesn't necessarily work the way you plan. So I am going to get to your comments at the moment, so bear with me while I go through the chat. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in, and if you are watching on Twitter, do hop on over to my YouTube channel and check out my live stream and my previous videos. Skill says Martinelli and Jesus have to be in the team. 100%, I agree. I really think they're essentials, and they're doing really great this season. They are explosive players, and their price point is too good to be true. Hi, Kobe. Hope you're well and hope you had a great game week. Great job with growing your Twitter, mate. I'm really proud of you. And hi, mate. Hope you're well. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm gonna try. Hope you're well. FPL Zandy says start Bailey or start Nico Williams. I would start Nico Williams in a heartbeat. Bailey, as you saw, he's not getting much involvement. He looked great in preseason, but that was preseason, and Gerrard doesn't seem like he has a clue on what's going on with Aston Villa. Personally, I feel that he'll be the first manager sacked this season. Hi, Luca. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you're well and hope you had a good day so far. Chris says, what do you think of Vardy for this week? Great question, Chris. I am going to discuss differential picks this season, and this game week, and one of my differential picks this game week is actually Vardy, Zaha, Eze, Olise, as well as Trossard or Danny Welbeck. I do feel these players are a great differential pick, especially Jamie Vardy. I know in the Arsenal game he didn't get any returns, but he did do a very great shot that Saliba had blocked, which would have gone in if Saliba didn't intercept that. Hi, Macy. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you're well, and sorry about the Man United defeat. I know there's a protest on the weekend as well as the Liverpool game. I am looking forward to that, and hopefully, fingers crossed, the game doesn't get canceled or postponed. Hi, Deshay. Thanks so much for tuning in. I really appreciate your support, and I'm also from Toronto, so big up Toronto. Let me go into my transfer plans and replacements for Bailey and Neto. If you still have Bailey and you haven't sold him before the price drop, personally, my replacements for him, affordable replacements, would be someone like Martinelli if you don't already have him, someone like De Silva, or if you would take Rodrigo, if you have him. Rodrigo is now 6.1. His price also rose. Defender-wise, if you are looking at replacing Trippier, or if you are looking at, getting in a Chelsea defender, for me, my priorities in defense would be Reece James. Differential players to target for me this game week would be Jamie Vardy because of the fixtures upcoming. And whenever I think of a transfer, I try to think of long-term transfers. So if you're looking to wildcard around game week 7 to game week 9, hold your horses and don't press transfers that you could get on a wild card and you don't necessarily essentially need right now. Zinchenko, Saliba is a toss-up in terms of Arsenal defense. If you already have an Arsenal triple-up of Ramsdale, Jesus, and Martinelli, then unfortunately you cannot get an Arsenal defender. I would even consider someone like Koulibaly or Cucurella. Personally, Koulibaly over Cucurella for me, in terms of the positioning that Koulibaly gets into and the amount of space that he covers, as well as the attacking potential that he has and nailed minutes. When Ben Chilwell is fully fit and comes back into this Chelsea team, I still feel that Cucurella and Ben Chilwell will be kind of their minutes reduced or evened out between the two of each other. Nico Williams is another great asset to have, or Patterson from Everton, very cheap, 4.0 defenders. You can't go wrong, and it is an enabler to your team to use the extra funds to upgrade your midfield or your strikers. If you are looking to replace your midfielders, a lot of people with the pick of Luis Diaz. Luis Diaz looks like he's going to be hauling, and especially with Darwin Núñez out, Salah to me against Man United looks like he's going to be very dangerous, and hopefully Luis Diaz delivers. But I do like the pick of Kulusevski because I don't own Son or Kane. I am interested in Kulusevski as a Tottenham attacking asset, and I do feel that this season Kulusevski can match Son for points-wise. Hopefully I'm proven right. But, it's Tottenham. I don't really care how they do. But FPL-wise, I do care about my points. Jesus, Haaland, and upfront options and striker-wise. For me, Vardy or even Tony are the obvious differential picks this game week for strikers. I prefer Vardy over even Tony just because Vardy has better fixtures and more involvement. I do feel that Vardy's heart is still at Leicester. And, although Leicester have not really made progress or signings at all except one goalkeeper, I do think Vardy is a great threat. He does still bring a lot of attacking potential into a team, and really much so the finishing in the final third, getting in the right areas, and also very much so getting the assists or the goals. He is a goal scorer, and he is one to have in your teams. I did already discuss the Walker, Cucurella, Nathan Ake section. So if you are interested in a defender, those are my picks to look for this week. Players that I'd highlight this week. Hi, Nipin. Thanks so much for tuning in. He said you pronounced my name correctly. Thank you so much. Hi, Adam. I think that's your name. I forgot, but I remember you. Hi, Nipin. Thanks so much for tuning in. And hi, Kenny. Hope you're well. Let me know what your transfer plans are this game week, and if you guys have any further questions for who to look out for this game week, as well as who's gonna stand out this game week the most. Let me know who you think is gonna be the most scoring player. Personally, I feel it's gonna be a toss up between Mo Salah as well as Gabriel Jesus this week. I actually think there could be a chance the Liverpool game could be cancelled. So if you're going to be wise like me, I would captain Salah and vice captain Jesus. Word of advice: never vice captain a player on the same team, just because if a game gets cancelled for obvious reasons, this protest is on a Monday night. People in England like to drink. They could get pissed drunk, and then who knows what happens. That protest could end up in very much so a different way. And I hope Jesus does well, and I am tempted to captain him. Honestly, I'm thinking to trust my players more, especially as an Arsenal fan, to trust my players more and see what they can deliver. Jesus has delivered week in and week out, and I think not captaining him might actually hurt me. He has very high effective ownership now, as well as Mo Salah. I know the people without Salah, they have less of headaches in terms of whether to decide whether to captain him or Jesus. But one to watch as well for Manchester City would be Kevin De Bruyne or Gundogan. Personally, I prefer the two of them in midfield over Phil Foden. I do feel that Gundogan and KDB get more involvement, more minutes, and more game time rather than Foden. And I would avoid Grealish and Mahrez at the time being. Grealish looked really good in preseason, but I just feel like something's not clicking with him. Whether it's Manchester City or whether it's him not having the right start to the season so far. Hopefully he clicks later on in the season, but at the moment he's someone I would avoid. And if you have him already in your team, I would look at replacing him to a different Manchester City midfielder like the likes of Gundogan or Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne is someone that I feel is nailed, always going to get you returns, and it's someone that you're just expecting a points haul. You're waiting for those numbers. Hi, Mr. Miami. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you're well. Albrecht says Newcastle's fixtures look better after game week 5. Yes, and I do feel at the moment I wouldn't touch Newcastle except for the Trippier defender. Personally, I felt I wanted to sell Trippier to get someone like Walker in my team because of Man City double defense, especially for the fixtures that they're playing. I do feel like Walker can give me back my -4 points if I was to take a -4 to change Walker, as well as to change Bailey to someone like De Silva in midfield. MXCEY says Salah or De Bruyne. Are you asking in terms of captaincy, or are you asking in terms of who to bring into your team? If you're asking in terms of captaincy, then I'd say Salah this week because of the fixture against Man United. Man United are doing absolutely poor, and Liverpool, they're not going to draw every single game. Let's be honest here. I think that Liverpool game where it just felt like they're really much so missing Sadio Mane. And without Diego, their midfield is not clicking. You do see how much of a miss Mane is when he's gone now from that Liverpool team. They're struggling to mesh together, and that Darwin red card threw the game off. At least they drew the game and didn't lose, but I don't think Liverpool will be drawing week in and week out moving forward into the season. And I do think Man United are in for a battering if I'm not mistaken. Mr. Miami says, I got 5 wisdom teeth taken out 2 weeks ago. I'm starting to feel better. Oh, wow. I'm really sorry to hear that, Mr. Miami. I will be on Mace's channel shortly, too. So I hopefully see you there as well. But, yeah, that's pretty much my, brief Game Week 2 recap. Game Week 3 brief overview and mini guide into players to look out for, players to keep a watch on, and players to sell if you haven't already sold already. Some players are just not clicking, and it's a time to let go. Hi, Polly. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you're well. Albrecht says, I sold Bailey before the price drop and got Jensen from Brentford in. He plays more minutes than De Silva and should start a lot with weaker opposition in the next games. They'll play a 4-3-3 instead of 5-3-2. And I think with the 4-3-3 formation, someone like Jensen would get more involvement into the game, especially if you look at his heat maps. I think he would do better in that formation as well. And Brentford don't necessarily have bad fixtures. I actually think they have favorable fixtures which is why a lot of people are bringing even Tony into their team or template like De Silva. Another player I forgot to mention who could be very much so a better pick than De Silva at the moment is someone like Harvey Elliott. Harvey Elliott did start the previous game, getting decent minutes, 60 plus minutes, and looks like a good attacking threat. However, most people who have already triple Liverpool with Robertson, Trent, and Salah, then you obviously cannot get another Liverpool asset. If you only have double LFC, then I'd consider getting someone like Harvey Elliott or Luis Diaz. Personally, I'd get Luis Diaz if you have the funds to do so. Hi, Niall. Thanks so much for tuning in. Niall's asking, will you be doing a stream after Arsenal versus Bournemouth at the weekend? 100% yes. I'll be back on my channel on the weekend, hopefully with another 3 points in the bag for Arsenal. We are going away to Bournemouth, and I'll be doing my tactical match reaction as well. I am working on new collaborations for my channel, as well as new features on other people's channels as well, within the Arsenal community and also within the FPL community. So do stay tuned there. And if you do want to keep up to date with my latest videos, when I'm uploading, when I'm going to be doing videos, do follow me on Twitter if you haven't already. My Twitter handle is MissMelina7, listed right there. And I do follow back FPL and Arsenal accounts. And if you do want FPL advice, or if you do want to join spaces or whatever, feel free. I'm often in the FPL community scene, whether it's spaces or whether it's just replying to tweets on Twitter. I do like the eye test more than stats, so I'm not really heavy on stats, but I do like the eye test a lot, and that's how I feel to bring in most of my players. But yes, I do like a lot of stats. I do like to look at stats, but not really heavily rely on them. And that's just how I play the game. But like I said earlier, play your own game and do what you feel is best. Another thing I would say is Fantasy Football Fix, their free app. They also mentioned to the price ranges subject to rise as well as price falls. So unlike me, you don't do the stupid move of not selling Bailey before the price drop, and you could save every penny, every dollar. It actually matters later on in the season when you're trying to buy premium players that have already rose in price. Gabriel Jesus at the moment is affordable, but it's not going to be like that for long, especially considering the very high effective ownership. Hi, Chris. Thanks so much for tuning in. And likewise, hope Leicester lose as well. I don't have any Leicester assets in my Fantasy Premier League team, so I can say that comfortably. Albrecht says, having Jensen in behind Damsgaard and Tony attracted me for 5 million, a good punt in my opinion. Yeah, I think that's a great punt from Game Week 5 to around Game Week 7. Most people are looking at the wildcard option from Game Week 7 to Game Week 9. But some people have already played an early wild card to bring in Darwin Núñez in their team, and it ended up backfiring with Núñez sent off in the last game, Game Week 2. MXCEY says, is a threemium a good option, or is it better to balance out the whole team? My threemium would be Salah, Kevin, and Kane. Okay, so this is a very good question. A lot of these kind of questions get asked when you're, going through 500 drafts, trying to pick the draft that you want to start Game Week 1 with. Personally, I feel I'm moving away from the threemium assets now. Very much so template Game Week 1. I started with 3-mium up top. I actually had 2-mium first, and then I went to 3-mium with Haaland, Kane, and Jesus. But I changed my drafts eventually with 2-mium. If you're doing 3-mium, I do feel like it's very much so fixture dependent, and very much so how you want to play your formation. What kind of formation are you playing, and who do you have in defense? What style are you playing? Are you playing big at the back? Are you playing stronger in midfield? Personally, I like stronger in the midfield. I also, last season, I played most of last season big at the back in defense because I felt like I could rely more on clean sheets. At the moment, Liverpool are not giving us that clean sheet potential, but I do feel Andy Robertson is someone to hold unless you are going to downgrade for someone who's going to give you more money to use to address other areas like your midfield or your forwards. So that's also another thing to address. I do like the 3-mium of Salah, De Bruyne, and Kane. However, what are you sacrificing? Are you having, a very average defense? Are you having an average midfield? Let me know that as well, because you have to kind of even out your team. I like to have a balance between my defense, my mid, and my forwards. I like to have 2 forwards that I can rely on, that I know week in, week out, these players are going to perform to their best. So his formation would be a 4-4-2. Yeah, that sounds good, to be honest. However, let me know what your defense is at the moment, who your defenders are, because I feel you shouldn't sacrifice your defense for that 3-mium. if you can still get good coverage in defense with players who give attacking threats, players who have good minutes, and not necessarily budget defenders, but like average defenders, then you should be fine. And this sounds good. Hi, Josh. Thanks so much for tuning in. Polly says at the 5 million price point, there's not really anyone else. The 5 million price point for defenders would be Patterson, and Jensen. I think Jensen, is a better option than De Silva, like my friend in the chat said. So he said, my defense would be James Cancelo, Nico Williams, and Zinchenko. Yes, this is good. This is a great defense. And I think Nico Williams is getting a lot more involvement. It's a shame he didn't get anything out of the Nottingham Forest game. They kept a clean sheet, but I don't think they will for a while. But Nico Williams is very cheap. You can't go wrong with him. If it's a bad fixture, just bench him and move on. You have that money to use elsewhere. Hi, Pokemon. Thank you for tuning in. Unbiased TV says, I have Zinchenko, Van Dijk, and Ait Nouri. Ait Nouri is someone I keep on the bench or look at selling if you haven't already used your free transfer. I have Odegaard on the bench. I'm using bench boost. Oh, okay. You're gonna bench boost early on in the season. Wow, that's interesting. Hi, Tim. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tim, I thought you're a Chelsea fan, mate. As an Arsenal fan, I think Arteta still needs to go. Tim, it's very nice to see you after a long time. I hope you're doing well. Not so much for Chelsea, but I hope you're doing well. It's very nice to see you again. Thanks so much for tuning in. And I do want to mention one more thing. If you guys haven't already joined my Fantasy Premier League, I do a Fantasy Premier League mini league. It's free to join. I am giving a prize at the end of the season for the number one person. Like last season, I did for number one and number two. This season, I am doing it for the number one person at the end of the season of my mini league. And the code to join is VAZ0TS. The code to join my mini league is VAZ0TS. It's free to join, and it's pretty much so for bragging rights, but the number one person at the end of my league will be given a prize at the end of the season, just like I did last season. Hi, Jordan. Thanks so much for tuning in. MXCEY says, midfield with my draft would be Salah, De Silva, KDB, and Martinelli, and a forward of Jesus and Kane. This is great midfield, and you have a good defense. So pretty much so you have a solid lineup. Have you taken any hits for it, or are you using any chips? Polly says, please don't mention Man United. Polly, I think casuals, we already took enough digs at Man United. Jordan says, I'm come now for stream mail. Thanks so much, Jordan, for tuning in all the way from Jamaica. Big up, Josh. Hope you're well, and thanks so much for your support as well. Liam, hope you're well. Hope you're having a good game week. My team for game week 3 is Mendy in goal, James, Trent, Cancelo, Zinchenko, Nico Williams. So 5 at the back. Salah, Diaz, Martinelli, Neto, Haaland, and Jesus. What's your thoughts on my team? It's good. That's a great team. Neto is someone, I'm not really proud of, but, if you're taking a hit, I wouldn't do that. And MXCEY, that makes sense. I figured you'd use a wild card because there's no way you're getting that team with more than minus 12 hits. You would have to take, or you would have to do a lot of surgery to your team to get those premium assets, especially a premium at the prices that they are right now. Polly's asking who's on the bench for Liam's team. Liam, I'm glad to see you again on my channel. Hope you've joined my mini league. If you haven't already, the code is VAZ0TS. Anyone can join. It's free to join, and it's just for fun at the end of the day. But the number one winner of my mini league will be given a prize at the end of the season. And if I haven't already said so, do make sure to like the stream if you haven't already. Subscribe to my channel if you're new. I just reached 2,750 subscribers this week, which is massive thanks to every one of you guys and all of you guys watching on Twitter who subscribe to my channel, who constantly push me to go on other channels and encourage me to get out there more in terms of FPL and Arsenal content. 2 things that I love and 2 things that stress me out the most sometimes, but I'll never change it for the world. And I have a lot of fun doing this, so I'm so glad for your support. And I'm on the road to 3,000 subscribers at the moment. Pokemon says Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo looks like he's out the door for Man United soon. I haven't done any Arsenal transfer news at the moment because it's just paper talk, and we have yet to sign a left center mid or a winger, so we're still waiting on that. But there's still time in the transfer window. Fingers crossed we do address another key position that we need to. But the Arsenal are looking bright, and I'm looking forward to doing my match reaction for the Bournemouth game on the weekend on Saturday. Liam says Neto is on my bench and playing Nico Williams ahead of him. That's great. I would do the same thing too. Jordan, I'm not on 2K yet. I wish. I'm at 1755 as of today, so I am working towards it. But in no doubt, I enjoy making content for you guys, and that's what matters to me most. Timmy says, Simpy uploaded. You still keep in touch with the legend? No, I haven't spoken to him in a very long time. I did see that he did a watch along with Kevin. I spoke to Kevin, but I haven't spoke to Simpy in a long time, Timmy. And yeah, that's pretty much it for my Game Week 2, Game Week 3 brief overview. Tomorrow or later today, I think tomorrow morning, I am going to be dropping my in-depth guide, keep, buy, sell for Game Week 3, who you should look out for, and captaincy choices with more statistics on Salah versus Jesus. It's a no-brainer for me on Salah, but part of me is still thinking to go with Jesus in case the game is canceled, or the smart option would be Captain Salah and Vice Captain Jesus. So if the game was canceled for whatever reason, then Jesus would automatically become my captain instead. Wishful thinking there. Those of you going with the differential captain pick, shout out to you guys for having the courage and all guns blazing to do so. Whether it's even Tony, whether it's Vardy, or whether it's someone like Kevin De Bruyne this game week. He came back when Arsenal are doing well. Yes, Tim, glad to see him back doing videos, but I haven't kept in touch for a while. Well, with that being said, that's all for my video today. We've been live for 36 minutes, so thanks so much for tuning in, guys. I normally do pre-recorded content, and I am working on doing a lot more graphics for the channel, so stay tuned for that. Do follow me on Twitter if you haven't already to keep up to date with my latest videos, latest content, as well as collaborations on the way with other FPL content creators, other FPL managers, and Arsenal content to come through. Thanks so much for tuning in, famous person, and I really appreciate it. Hopefully your rank's doing good in FPL. It's too early to worry about ranks anyway. I'm just a casual. I say I'm a casual, but I'm really competitive. So although I'm at 1 million in rank right now, hopefully, around game week 5, 6, before I wildcard, my rank is doing a lot better in places. But have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, everyone. Take care of yourselves. And last but not least, I do want to say FPL is just a game. Don't overwork yourself. And don't kick yourself in the foot if you have a bad game week. Just, take a breath of fresh air and restart and refresh for the next game week. Those of you who are new to FPL or who haven't yet joined my mini league, my FPL mini league is free to join. The code is VAZ0TS. We have over 300 people in the league, and it's very, very competitive and very close. But good luck, everyone, for game week 3. May your arrows be green, and may you guys get soaring high ranks this game week. But keep cautious on the hits you make. Try to play it safe, I suggest right now, until the wild card comes in, and then mid-season, go all guns blazing and go brave. Those of you guys going with the differential picks, I wish you the best of luck, and I think it's going to work out for you guys. And for all of you guys who tuned in today, thanks so much for your support and for tuning in. Let me know your team selection, your thoughts on this week's games, as well as how much goals do you think Man United are going to get slapped by Liverpool this weekend. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day and week ahead. My Twitter handle is listed below. If you do want to follow me, I did reach 14,000 on there just the other day. So thank you so much for everyone who's been supporting from the start, and all the new subscribers who tuned in. Welcome over, and hope you like my content. Take care, everyone, and adios. Bye, everyone. That's all for me. Adios, and see you on Saturday for a live Arsenal versus Bournemouth match reaction away from home this time. And tomorrow, I will be dropping a new Fantasy Premier League video specifically on Game Week 3 and what to focus on for the upcoming game week. Good luck, everyone. Bye for now.